I can jump in. Hi, everybody. I'm August Runge. I'm the executive director over at the Center for Undergraduate Global Engagement. Really excited to see everyone and talk about this program a little bit more.
Yeah, and my name's Allie Rabinowitz. I'm one of the UG advisors, so I'm happy to help you all through the application process. We'll go more a little bit in depth into that later in this session as well.
Mm-hmm. Hi, everyone. I am Constantina Zanu. Most of you know me because I am your professor in Mediterranean Humanities. But as you know, this is open for applications to everyone. Everyone is welcome to apply. Anyone who is interested in the Mediterranean or Greece, and who is an undergrad or a graduate student. There are some priorities for the students of the Italian department or the program in Hellenic Studies, but everyone is really welcome to apply. And I wanted to say 2 words about what this thing is. It's a global seminar, 1 week, so very intense. It doesn't offer any credit. It's more of a learning experience. It was conceived as, let's say, an addition to my global core Mediterranean humanities, but it can be also be experienced as a separate thing. But this is the way I perceived it initially. And so the main question that we will have while we're there will be how Athens is connected to the Mediterranean context, right? And not only historically, but also culturally, and not only at the present time, but also in antiquity. And basically, we will discuss and think at a subject like we will learn first of all a lot of things about the the history and culture of Greece and Athens and Piraeus specifically, but we will think also about subjects that we have been dealing in this class, which have to do with migration, which have to do with the whole narrative of the Western civilization, of the importance of antiquity in rethinking the modern nation state, of thinking about the islands, of ports, and we will combine activities that have to do with culture and history widely understood, which includes, of course, visits and conversations in museums and archaeological sites, walks in the city, educational walks in the city, literary walks, which will include not only museums and important poets and readings, but also, and Nicholas will tell us, graffitis and urban culture and things like that. We will visit an island with a boat, 1-day trip to a nearby island. So I can, if it's okay, I would go just quickly through the program, the day-to-day program that I have put together with Nicholas Kakufa, who is here with us, and he will be the co-director with me. Our graduate student assistant is not today with us, but she is great, and I can tell you about her. But in any case, I can go through that, and Nicholas will add the parts where he will be guiding the two. So after the first day arrival and the welcoming dinner, you can see all these details, by the way, on the website of the application. You can see every day a day-to-day program. But we will start Monday. We will start with a guided visit to Syntagma. Syntagma Square is the main square of Athens, where basically the parliament is found, right? And we will have with us guides in all these tours in museums and in the city. But these guides, and I should make it clear, they are not just any tourist guides, that you can find in these places that if you go as a tourist. They are colleagues, they are historians, they are archaeologists, they are people actors and classicists, people with whom I work. I have a very close relationship. We have been thinking together many and reflecting together many of these intellectual issues. So we will be having like really substantial conversations with these people. They are like intellectuals and scholars, right? So Nicholas Lukolaidis is one of them, and he will be around with us that first day. We will be visiting the Benaki Museum, which I can share my screen and show you some of, let me see, some of these images. Okay, so, okay. Museum, Benaki Museum. You can see all these links there, but the Benaki Museum is a museum which is dedicated to the starting from antiquity. It is mostly dedicated to the modern history of the country from the Greek Revolution onwards, right? And we will have a guide there going through the history of the country in the modern times. Then we will go for a coffee and discussion in this place, which is amazing. I don't know if you can see it. It's the Philopapos Hill, which is just in front of the Acropolis. Here you can get a better sense. You see the Acropolis from there. And all this is walking distance. So we will be walking, and it's also walking distance from your apartments, okay? And we will be reflecting and discussing about the things that we will be seeing in these museums, right? There is always reflection and discussion going on. And that same day, we will visit the Acropolis itself and the museum, the Acropolis Museum, which is all this new structure in front of the Acropolis, right? So full day, very intensive day. Now, the second day, let's see. Second day will be, we will have these two educational, very interesting educational activities. As most of my students know, I have a past as an actress. So basically here I combine a little bit of my theater self, trying to also bring into your connect with this trip what you learn in Litham, you know, when ancient drama, but also it will include, fortunately, an activity which will include acting on your part. I don't know exactly what it will be, but and then in the afternoon we are having another workshop in this very interesting museum, which is the Center of Modern Pottery, again in the center of Athens, a beautiful building, in which you will learn, not only it will be, you know, there will be a lecture about the history of modern Greek pottery, but you will learn how to make your own pots and actually ceramics. And you will, I mean, the archaeologist there, the director of the museum told me that you will be able to make your own pots, and then you will be able to take it with you as a, you know, as something to remember from your visit. Then the day after, we are going to Piraeus, which is the biggest port in Athens, like half an hour from Athens. We're taking the metro. There is easy transportation in all these places, and we're going to this foundation, which is actually housed in a villa in front of the port, just by the sea. I can show you, see here. You can also explore these links by yourself. This is a huge foundation, which in a way it has a very rich library, a beautiful building. They make amazing programs, and so basically that day will be dedicated, and actually it's organized by this foundation because they are among our co-sponsors, and they will guide us through their library and also through their collection of maritime objects. They have the biggest collection in the Mediterranean of Horatio Nelson's objects. And then they will also take us for a tour around Piraeus, right? And then that same day, we will be coming back to Athens, and we will visit together the National and Archaeological Museum of Greece, which is the most important museum in the country. We will be focusing on certain. This is the museum from the outside. On certain aspects of that museum, and I will be the one discussing with you mostly some aspects of the meaning of the collections, of the meaning of archaeology in the 19th century, mostly, and all these things there. But then you're free to tour the museum alone in your own pace. Then I will give the word to Nicholas now. I will stop sharing because that's the day that Nicholas takes over and he will be guiding us.
Well, hello, everyone.
Nicholas, if you can present yourself, because my students do not know you.
Well, hello, everyone. I am Nicola Kakufa. I'm in the classics department, but I am a lecturer in modern Greek. I run the modern Greek language program and the undergraduate program. What we will be doing together on that day mostly, as we will be engaging in Athens, because as you know, many people have to visualize Athens' multiple temporalities, right? Oh, there's the Parthenon. Oh, here is the pottery. Here's the Acropolis. On that day, we will have two main tasks. On the first hand, we visit one of the most famous Greek poets' museum. He was born in Alexandria. He is a truly Mediterranean and diasporic poet, a queer poet from the beginning of the 20th century, who has only visited Athens 2-3 times in his life, but his museum, his archive is in Athens. So first we will see how does one build this sort of official curation of a poet within the city, in the Plaka area, close to the Acropolis. And then we will explore the city the way its inhabitants do. We will walk the streets of Athens. We will see how writers have visualized this city. And then we will see the ways in which a city can speak to us, right? We will go to Exarchia, is where you live. We will go through what the walls and what the streets can tell us. What are the things on people's minds? What are the current politics? How do they understand antiquity? How do they understand their relationship with the past? What kind of considerations do they have? We already have a program called Greek Streets, where there are some 3D sort of three-dimensional videos of those areas. So I will ask you to do a treasure hunt to go see what the streets tell you, what languages are used on those streets, what does that make of Athens politically, culturally, literally, and then we will connect those to the curated versions of Athens that you will get from the Archaeological Museum from the past. What is the vibe of the city today? What is the city talking about? And how do we engage with cities when we have read literary text or any other text? I'm happy to say more, but maybe people will have questions, Konstantina. So
yes, and then thank you, Nicholas, and let me continue with the description of the trip, because after that day, let me share my screen again. It's the day that we are spending in the island, Aegina Island. Here is just a picture of the Cavafy Museum that we are visiting with Nicholas, right? And then I should say one thing, which is important, that we will be accompanying these visits with various readings that we will be giving. And of course, they're not obligatory, you don't get credit for that, but it's like an experience which involves readings too, right? And thinking together. And also another thing that I wanted to say is that our graduate student coordinator will be offering different activities beyond the class time, beyond these tours. Like, for example, she will be suggesting, or taking you to specific coffee shops or for a walk, or like if you want, if you want to go to an exhibition or things like that. There will be certain guidance outside of the program itself. That's why we have the graduate student coordinator. But let's go back to the island. This is the island, one view of the island of Aegina that we are going on that day. And basically we are having a full tour in this island is small, but very important in both ancient history. So there are important monuments on that island from classical times, but also in the modern history of the country, because it was like the first seat of the modern Greek state. And then we are doing that tour together with an archaeologist and a friend, a scholar. And then hopefully we will also have time to just taste the waters of the Mediterranean a little bit. I am stop sharing now. So hopefully that day we will be able to spend, to have lunch. We will have lunch for sure on the island, and to go to the beach there. And then the last day is a day curated by our graduate student coordinator, who is a specialist, Chloe Haralambous. She's Italian-Greek herself, and she is just defending her PhD on literature of migration in the Mediterranean, and she's actually also an activist for migrants in the Mediterranean and so on. And as I send my students a link to a film, a documentary, which will be shown next week in preview at Columbia, which shows Chloe's work. And if you want to see it, just to get an idea of what she does. So that's all from me now. I'll give the word to Ali and August for the process. And if you want to ask me anything, I am happy to answer your questions.
Yeah, perfect. So I will start sharing my screen just to go over the application process. So y'all should be able to see that now. So just as a quick overview, this is a lot to look at first, but we're just going to go over like getting started, the deadline, eligibility, how to apply, and then sort of the application is going to be broken up into a pre-decision phase, so things that you all may already be starting to work on, and then once you're accepted into the program, after that March 8th deadline, it will then shift into a post-decision phase. So we're just going to go over both of those. So to get started, to find this program, I did drop the link of the program in the chat earlier, but if you need to find it again, go to our website, uge.columbia.edu, click Find a Program. It's listed as one of our Columbia-led opportunities, so you can find it there as well. The deadline to apply is by Friday, March 8th, so in a week, and the decision date, we will be sending out notifications on or around Friday, March 15th. Eligibility, you can take a look, to see sort of all of the requirements there, but listed out, as we've all said, it's open to undergraduate and graduate students in good academic and disciplinary standing. We do have a minimum 3.0 cumulative GPA requirement. If you are a first-year student, I understand that you may not have that cumulative GPA requirement, which is totally okay. We'll likely just kind of do a quick grade review or just check in just to make sure that you have a 3.0 the semester prior to going abroad. As we've said, priority will be given to students who are registered in Mediterranean Humanities 2, as well as students from the Italian department and the program and Hellenic Studies. So then how to apply? It's very easy. Just click the Start Your Application button. That just gets you started into our system. You'll be asked to set up a short profile, which just allows us to send you relevant information about your application. Once you've created a profile, you'll see a checklist of items that you'll need to submit. The first thing after completing the profile and clicking Start Application will be that sort of program options, and you'll see that Summer 24 is listed to be able to start that application. So then this is kicking into sort of the pre-decision items, what you should be seeing in your UGE portal. I've highlighted just a few items. Some items are specific for Columbia College or C students. Some items are specific for general studies students. It just sort of depends kind of on the specific questions that are in these clearance questionnaires. So not all of these will be listed for you. It really depends on your home school. You'll note that there's, again, academic and disciplinary review, general clearance questionnaires about sort of what is your major, how many credits have you completed. Although this is a non-credit opportunity, we still want to make sure that you are still eligible to go abroad. The biggest thing, which we'll cover a little bit more in depth, is sort of that Mediterranean Humanities in Athens actual application, which consists of like a personal statement. So we'll go a bit more into that, as well as the Global Learning Scholarship. We'll touch on that very shortly. So you'll see the signature documents or materials. So those are just items that you need to review and just mark that you've read and received that. We've also included a study abroad handbook. It's for really all of our programs during the summer or even semester, but could just be some helpful resources for health and safety, how to get started, how to pack, all of that kind of stuff. Maybe just something for you all to review as well. So probably what you all are most concerned about is really that actual kind of the application portion of it. So you'll see here, there's really three main questions that we're asking students to complete. One is about the course, one is about what department you're in, and then really that demonstrated interest, sort of how this program meets kind of academic, personal, professional goals, and really your interests into this opportunity. We do ask that you maximum 200 words. This shouldn't be something that you're sort of, thinking about night after night. It's really come into it, sort of share your passions, share your interests, just so we can get a sense of sort of your really, your interest into this program. And then, as I said, so the Global Learning Scholarship, already through generous funding, the program fee for this opportunity has been reduced to about $1,300. Additional funding may be provided to highly qualified and committed candidates. This is where the Global Learning Scholarship in the UGE portal kicks in. Students should still contact their financial aid office to understand if you do remain eligible for aid during the summer. I do understand that aid sometimes is tied to credit opportunities, so it may or may not apply, but I still encourage you to reach out to a financial aid officer just to learn more. The Global Learning Scholarship really just goes into information about, do you receive a Pell Grant? If you don't, sort of more information about your financial aid. And that financial aid assistance, that third question there is a yes or no option to that. And if you do select yes, to explain more of your reasoning, another drop-down box will open up for you to just write a little bit more detailed information. So this Global Learning Scholarship could help, still fund some of that program fee, potentially, again, for those highly qualified students. So we encourage you, just still submit it. Encourage you, if you're not sure, if you are highly qualified or not, just feel free to submit that, and we will review that information at that time. So then really kicking into the post-decision items, the decision date for the program will be sent out Friday, March 15th. We do have a confirmation of participation and a program deposit of $500 that will be applied to your program fee. That will be due on March 22nd. And then due on April 1st will be the remainder of the program fee, about $800, as well as just some additional information for you to submit, like the questionnaires and materials. All of these post-decision items will be the same for all students, whether you're CCCs, GS, graduate students, so you should see that all there. Really the biggest thing, there will be a healthcare provider evaluation. As we all talked about, like this is a bit more of an intensive, you're walking a lot of movement. We just want to make sure that, you're physically able to be able to participate in that program. So that is something that you will have to complete with a healthcare provider. A lot of students are able to get that completed from a Columbia Health, professional. So feel free to reach out to them to schedule an appointment. And if you ever need an extension on completing any of these items, even after that April 1st deadline, we'd be more than happy to provide that to you as well. So just a couple key things. Again, it's just that program deposit, sort of a week after your acceptance into the program, and then April 1st for that remaining program fee as well. So then just to really touch on, August will probably talk a little bit more about this in a second, but the biggest thing as part of these post-decision items will be completing the undergraduate international travel policy. This is for all students studying abroad and will be due at least 4 weeks prior to the departure date. So Sunday, April 21st is when this will actually be due, which is why we got to kind of start, the program fees and all that kind of stuff, just to ensure that you're all in our system, set and ready to go, and ready to submit the school sponsorship application. Due no later than 2 weeks prior to your departure date, which will be then Sunday, May 5th, we'll ask for additional information, in particular like the ISOS My Trips, which actually asks you to register your details of your travel. So flight information, accommodations, which will go a little bit more in depth into like the address for that. But these are all things that you'll have to sort of, especially the flight, you'll have to book your own flights. and just make sure that you submit that information in a timely manner for the ISOS My Trips. So that's basically really a quick snapshot of everything. You know, if you have any questions throughout this application process, like just feel free to reach out to me anytime. I'm pretty quick to respond and can help answer any questions. We can sort of open up questions now about the application, or if there's anything, if we want to kind of leave questions at the end, sort of whatever works best for everyone. But is there anything else?
I was just gonna add, Ali, I'll pop it in the chat. The housing provider is a provider that we've used before in Athens. They have a mix of we're still finding out exactly what we're going to have, but it's a mix of studios and one bedrooms. And we will have single occupancy, double occupancy, and they think there'll be one of the apartments that is occupied by 3 people, but all separate beds. So more information on that, and I'll put a link to their website in the chat, and happy to answer any questions that you might have. And thanks for doing the undergraduate international travel policy. I think you did a great job recapping that.
Perfect, perfect. Does anyone have any questions about the application process?
And I think that it's important to look at the link that August will put of the housing, because I think that they're beautiful apartments and all new and in the city center. So it's important for you to know that, yeah, you can click that link. I'm sure that there will be questions here, but I wanted to submit a question on part of one of the graduate students who may be applying, because they were asking whether there will be any fellowships available to them. And I don't know.
So that will probably be the Global Learning Scholarship that they could apply to. So we can sort of look more into that at that time. Yeah, so just have them submit that Global Learning Scholarship.
Yeah,
Hi, so-
I would. Oh, sorry. I was just going to say I would reinforce that there's a limited amount of additional funding, because the Athens Global Center and the Global Learning Scholarship has already brought the program fee so low, which includes the housing and all of the wonderful things that Constantina was describing earlier. Sorry, go ahead,
Mateo, you wanted to say something?
Yeah. Hi, yeah, I think I might be the graduate student.
Yes, you are.
But I wanted to just ask, so I know that I'm a PhD student in the Italian department. And basically, I know that students in the Italian department who have done the Venice program haven't had to pay for it, done it as students. And so I'm wondering if there is a similar possibility here for, considering that it's not a dissimilar situation.
Yeah, we can look into that. I'm familiar with the Venice program, but not familiar with the scenario you're describing. So we can sort of explore that and see what mechanism was used to fund those PhD students.
The other thing I wanted to ask for undergraduate students, I'm not sure if it's clear to everyone, that the students who are on financial aid but not from Columbia will be also considered as, we will look into that. We will also consider them in terms of the financial needs, right? So I just wanted to mention that it's not just the fellowship, like the fellowships are not exclusively for those who are on financial aid from Columbia. There is a question from Lucas. Lucas?
Hello. I was just wondering about, in terms of eligibility, I currently have an AR grade on my transcript, but the professor just entered the grade and it just hasn't updated in the system yet. I was wondering if there's a way to reflect that on the application at all, or if it's like something that's like a big deal.
I would say not a big deal at all, since you're already kind of in the process of working that out. We do, in the clearance questionnaire, there should be a one question at the very bottom that just says additional comments or additional information. So you can feel free to just include that there as well.
I see also a question from Valerie here. Hi, Valerie. Yes, it's well, there is a priority. But first of all, 15 students are going to this program. We cannot take more, as you can imagine. It's a small number, but there are chances, of course, for someone who is not currently in Medham to be admitted. And that's why you need to state all the, all the relevant experience that you have. I know that in your case that you have, what you do is very much related to these issues. So I would invite people that they don't know, students that they don't know, or Nicholas doesn't know, because it's not just me, it's also Nicholas, to state, I don't know, August, if there is a possibility for these students that are not in Medham to explain in more than 200 words, perhaps a little bit more, because in that case, we may need a little bit more words, maximum 500 words. Is it okay? So that they can explain what classes they have taken, why they're interested in this, because I don't know them, or Nicholas doesn't know them.
Yeah, it looks like Ali, you know the system better than I do, but it's
Yeah.
not like a 200 max. That's just like a guiding.
Okay.
So yeah, if you have more words to describe your interest and commitment, please feel free to include that in the application.
Yeah, and I'll update that as well. If you've already opened an application, you may not see that question updated. I can say, max if you're not, in this class, but it's just an open essay block. So feel free to write as much information as you want.
As much sounds like a lot. You don't need to write that much.
Maximum 500. More than 500 words? No, we're not going to read it. So no other questions, it seems to me. But in any case, if you have any questions, you can reach out to me or Nicholas, and of course, August and Ali, anytime, right?
Yep, absolutely.